Alright, so I'm going to do a little update to the coolant problem that my 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee was having. I did a video a while back on the coolant problem that I was having. It was essentially this buildup of gel, slime stuff towards the top of the radiator cap. I have a video that I did on it. I'll just, I guess, link it down in the bottom. You guys can take a look at it. But some of you said you guys had the same thing. But I was having no issues with the Jeep. It wasn't overheating. Nothing was wrong with it. I went to the Jeep dealership like 2 years ago and said, hey, is this normal? They said, yeah, it's totally normal. It's like a coagulation of whatever from the engine. So it was giving me no problems. I let it be. And then, like, I don't know, 2 years later, I went back to the Jeep dealership with just the pictures that I took. And I was like, hey, what does this look like to you guys? He's like, oh yeah, it looks like oil, that's not normal. And I'm like, well, you guys said it was normal, 2 years ago. Now you're telling me that it looks like oil, so what's going on? And long story short, he was telling me that, oh, he looked up the service record for it, and was like, oh yeah, we took a look at it, said it was fine, so I take that back. It doesn't look like oil, looks normal. So I was like, you know what, this doesn't look normal to me. Just for peace of mind, I would like to just flush it and do everything myself. So I went ahead and got 3 gallons of the coolant stuff and decided to just go ahead and flush it. So this is kind of what I did as far as trying to fix the problem myself. So like I said, it was this buildup towards the top of the cap. I essentially, what I did was I got a whole bunch of distilled water and got a couple, I don't know, like 2 or 3 of those Prestone flush radiator bottles, stuff that you dump in there and clean it out. So what I did was I took, it took a while because I had to get a tool for this clamp right here. It makes it a whole lot easier if you have that special tool that, clamps it for you instead of using pliers. But anyways, I just undid this hose right here, drained all the coolant out. Smelled terrible, looked pretty bad. Nothing alarming, no like chunks or anything, but it was kind of like slimy and gelled up a little bit. But flushed it all out, let the stuff sit in there for, I don't know, about a week. I kept running the engine, flushed it all out, did it all over again with another bottle of the stuff. And then I drained everything out and then started flushing it with just distilled water. And then I got just distilled water in there, flushed it all out. Everything was coming out clean. Nothing that I had to worry about. So I had clean water, cleaned out this whole tank. There was a little bit of this, like, I don't know. It looked like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but like it's not like a gel, but it's like a slime almost along the side of the tank. The majority of that stuff came out. Flushed it real good. Got this whole bottle empty. Cleaned it out. This was all looking good. Filled it up again. So basically I drained it one last time, pulled that hose, drained everything out. Maybe there was a little distilled water left in the engine block. Wasn't too worried about it because it was distilled water, not a big deal. Got everything out of the radiator. That everything was bone dry from all these hoses and everything. So got the 2.5 gallons, whatever, back in the system. And just my observations from this stuff, this coolant, it's supposed to be this purple oat coolant, if you guys can see that. It looks purple when you look at it this way, but when you look at it in certain light or as a certain way, it looks brown. So that's what my old stuff kind of looked like, but I'm guessing that at some point, I need to top it off just a little bit more, but at some point, coolants, the HOT and oat coolant was mixed at some point. I don't know if it was in the factory or whatever, but that's, I think, what was causing the problem. But as you can see here, it looks brown. I mean, or orange or whatever. But if I stick a paper towel down in there, it'll come out purple. So it's really weird coolant. Like, you'll look at it one way, and it looks brown and just bad, but it's the exact same color as this stuff that's in the tank. So it's weird. I can't describe it, but I know it looks brown in there, but that stuff is actually purple. Yeah, it's weird. So anyways, got it all put back in. So that's all good to go. And now I guess I'm just going to wait and see if the problem comes back or if I got all that slime stuff out of there. But I haven't driven it much since I just got the coolant in there today. But again, I wasn't having any overheating problems. I just wanted it for my peace of mind to know that the right coolant was in there, nothing was mixed, and that, you know, it was done right. So obviously I couldn't trust the dealership because they're telling me two different things, and they now want me to pay for it because it's out of warranty. So it's not that hard to do. Like I said, you could just pop that hose off, or if you even want to hit that little red cap down there to drain the radiator just a lot slower, and then bleed the system. There is a bleed screw right on top of the grate down there, and of course Chrysler or Jeep would make it impossible to get to because they put it in the way of this intake. So essentially, if you want to bleed your cooling system, you have to take this goddamn intake off, which is a pain in the ass. Well, not terrible, but there's a screw here, screw over there. You take off that little sensor, and then you know, you can hit that screw, but you can't hit it at this angle because this piece is in the way. But that's where the screw is to bleed the cooling system. It goes right to the thermostat. I did do it a little bit. Liquid was coming out, so I was like, all right, you know, most of the air came out at the radiator cap when I was bleeding it, so not many problems. But I just want to let you guys know, I guess, what the update was as far as what the dealership said to me initially, and what I went to do to get this whole thing fixed. That's about it for the cooling system. It took about 2.5 gallons. I got about a gallon. I actually picked up an extra gallon in case I need more in the future. But I will let you guys know, I guess, if the problem ever does come back, you know, 20,000 miles from now or whenever. But I do have the right stuff in there now, so I'm happy about that. I'm just hoping that it doesn't come back. And if it does, you know, I'm hoping it's not a head gasket, which I don't think it is, because I've heard a lot of the Chrysler 200 and stuff had that problem with mixed coolants, basically turning into a gel. So I think that's what it was. Somebody at some point either mixed two of the coolants or whatever, but the right stuff's in there now, so I'm happy with that. But this Jeep is starting to be a pain in the rear as far as problems going. There's another problem that I had down there. I cleaned it up a bit, but there's a power steering leak from the rack and pinion, or power steering rack, whatever. Not sure exactly where it's at on there. I think it's from one of those screws, but I'm not sure. I know there was a problem with some of the power steering racks with the older models, but not on the 2014 year. So there's no recalls or anything. But I could tell because power steering was leaking. It only seemed to happen in cold weather, like just a random day. It would just start leaking when it was cold out. It wasn't terrible. I would just have to top it off. And I was like, where is this stuff going? And then when I was doing this cooling thing, I finally noticed some buildup down there. But anyways, that's a different day, different problem. It's not a major issue right now. I just got to keep an eye on the power steering and just top it off every once in a while. But the main thing was the coolant, so you guys know what's going on with that. But everything's filled up. If you got any questions for me, just let me know. But it will be 2.5 gallons of that oat coolant, and we'll see if this problem comes back. We'll see you guys later.